What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Keeping It Real review. I'm your host, James, joined by Jack and Reese, and this is the big one, Spider-Man No Way Home. I think when we excluded Marvel from our most anticipated films of the year list, didn't we? But I think this would have been way up there if we had done so. I think the excitement leading up to this has just been insane. I'm still struggling to process all of it. I keep waking up. I'm like, I think I dreamt that. I think I imagined that happened. So after Mysterio revealed Peter's identity to the world, Peter seeks the help of Doctor Strange to make the world forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But the spell goes awry and opens up a doorway that lets in villains from different universes who have history with Spider-Man. So I've currently seen this 3 times already, twice with Jack.
In the same day.
Spoke twice in the same day. Yeah. Me and you spoke briefly about it after, but spoiler free. We'll do spoiler free thoughts first. What did you think of No Way Home?
What a perfect film. What else can you say? It promised a lot and it delivered
more.
Yeah. Like I could have easily have watched it again straight afterwards.
It was the breeziest 2.5 hours I've ever.
I know.
After all the movies we've watched this year, Reese, how nice was this? We were in and out.
I just felt like it was coming towards the end, and I was like, surely this isn't 2.5 hours, because I've seen plenty of films this year that have felt
much
2.5 hours.
longer. Yeah. Exactly.
But no, it just it got everything right in there. Just,
I think they knocked it out of the park on this one. I think all my, I've had some problems with the MCU version of Spider-Man. Those are completely gone now. They've been fixed. This has, without giving anything away, really, this is, it's the end to this arc of MCU Spider-Man, and it's evolving into something different. And it's really treating this trilogy sort of his origin into the Spider-Man that we've all wanted this entire time. And I think in that way, it succeeds more than any Spider-Man film that we've had yet. I felt sort of, when I walked out, I felt a mix of like how I felt after Into the Spider-Verse, where I was like, I can't believe what I've just seen. That was insane how they pulled that off. And then also like Spider-Man 2, it was a mix of how I felt after both those movies, where I was so excited that they'd done my favorite character just such justice. Jack, what are your spoiler-free thoughts?
Jesus Christ, what a movie! I don't even know where to begin. My only critique of this movie, and it's not even to do with the actual movie, it's to do with the marketing. Okay. I knew too much going in. I am one of those fans.
Would you have preferred not to know the villains were coming back?
I was so certain of so many things, and most of them came true. Which is my only issue. And like, I was still obviously fucking elated that these things happened, but I just can't imagine not having a fucking clue. I can't imagine what my reaction would have been. I would have fucking ran out.
Yeah, if we'd had no inkling at any of the things, it would have been like it was in the cinema.
You've got to tease the villains, I think, because how do you market this film alone on Peter's identity's out? Because that is sort of like the first 40 minutes, and then it moves on to all the multiverse stuff.
To be honest, they could have put any advert out and I'd have watched it.
Yeah, so I know, but with this movie, I think they want to secure that, one of the biggest movies of all time. And how do you do that? You tease the shit out of all these returning characters.
I just think from now on, I'm going to try and just watch the first trailer that they release for these like huge movies, and then just not bother, because I just think like I get so bogged down in like, oh god, I wonder what's going to happen, and then I see things on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
I was pretty good with this one at not watching too many of the trailers. I watched the first one.
I watched every single.
I might have seen one more, but I think I was kind of like, I want to see as little as I can. So when I go in, Yeah, it paid off.
I was I knew, I want to say like 75% of the things that happened in this film I was already like aware of, but it didn't lessen the impact, or like as soon as I was in there and I sat down, I just forgot, and I just let myself be, taken on this adventure. So that didn't really bother me. And I know like it's only just come out in America today, and spoilers have been all over the internet for days already. So
TikTok is
America.
absolutely
TikTok,
rife.
YouTube, Twitter.
There's fucking clips, like
Swarming.
whole clips.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching them.
It's because
I literally opened it the other day, and it literally came up like the first video on my thing just said "No Way Home" spoiler, and then I won't spoil it now. But it's literally bang right in my face. It was like brilliant. There was no like 5 seconds leading into the spoiler. It was just bang, here it is. And I was like, well, if I hadn't seen it, I would have found that person and I would have beat them to death.
My god! I can't imagine what
like,
I would have done.
I can't imagine seeing spoilers for it. Like,
well, right. So speaking of spoilers, we'll dive in. I think everyone's going to go see this movie anyway. But if anyone was wondering whether we recommend this film, I think it's clear.
yes.
We 100% do. Go and see Spider-Man: No Way Home, and then come back and talk spoilers with us. So the film picks up right where Far From Home left off. Mysterio has revealed Peter's identity to the world. He's been framed for his murder and the murder of all those civilians in London when that incident happened. So he's, he eventually does win his court case with the help of Matt Murdock, which, Daredevil's in this movie, and that's not the biggest thing. The second time I went to watch it, I forgot, and he appeared again. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, it's so fleeting.
Yeah,
I was almost like when it came up, I was like, oh yes, now what? Like, what's the next thing that's gonna happen?
Holy shit! Yeah,
I literally saw that kid, and I was like,
I
knew it was going to be great
because of the Hawkeye TV show as well. Like Kingpin's been so rumored and teased. Yeah. I was just like, they're not going to do one without the other. They're a package deal.
Yeah,
100%. They're both so perfect in those roles, and it's like Charlie Cox hadn't had a day off from doing Daredevil the way he was in this. Yeah. It's great. But then he warns Peter. He's like, there's still the people's opinion, and you're gonna have to win them over. And we see that Mysterio still got his believers and his followers, and this is really starting to affect Peter's life. He's in his senior year at high school. He wants to get into college. He wants to go to MIT with Ned and MJ. But because of him being Spider-Man and their involvement with him, they're all being denied entry. So he goes to Doctor Strange. He's like, please, can you help me fix this? And in this film, this is my favorite interpretation of Doctor Strange that we've had in any MCU film.
Because it's Mephisto,
No, it's not. It's not him. Out to the window. It's completely him. And I
hope that's the new thing now with Marvel, that every film someone's like, it's Mephisto. And
that's been the thing for the past year, hasn't it?
Ever get Mephisto in the MCU? I hope it never happens. Because it would be so funny.
I hope it's the Al Pacino of this podcast. Mephisto.
Mephisto's my new Gambit. It's never happening.
So I love how it's obvious how much Doctor Strange cares about Peter now after their experience in Infinity War and Endgame, and it comes back later at the end as well, and it got really, really choked up, and I know it got Jack as well when we see he considers Peter's not just this kid, he's his friend, and he cares about him, and I thought that was great. And so this spell goes awry. These villains start coming through, and the first one we get is that battle with Doc Ock, which has been, that's been in both the trailers, but there was so much more to this fight than I expected, and it was great. And Doc Ock looks fantastic. The arms aren't practical anymore; they're all CG, but they look great. And what did we think of the way Peter sort of quickly takes care of Doc Ock? The nanotech went differently than how I expected it. It pairs with
Peter
and he controls.
Yeah, I thought it was great because obviously you don't want to push it out too long because he's got so many other things to deal with. So I kind of like the
And it's also like because the tech in the MCU is so much more advanced than than it was in the Raimi trilogy. That it's funny to see them come to this reality and like, oh, we're really, we're on a different level here. We get the tease of Green Goblin coming in, and then we're transported back to the Sanctum. I wish we got more Willem in the old costume.
Yeah, I thought
maybe
that
just
when he
maybe
smashed
just
it.
Oh yeah, because I was like, that suit looks so cool in this new context, and they've tweaked it a little bit. I wanted to see more of that.
I feel like,
I guess for the story you have to shed that and wait for his conflict with Peter later.
Yeah,
it feels
so
much more personal when he's not
when he's actually fighting, because later
good in this film, Willem Dafoe, like,
how is he even better in this than he was in the 2002
I know,
movie?
I read about him as well when he's like what, 60 something?
66.
Yeah, he's got to be.
And he was like, yeah, I'll do it if I can do all my
I'm only doing it if you let me do the action.
What a man.
Yeah,
I saw an interview with Tom Holland or whatever, and he was talking about like the fight scenes they had to do together, and he said obviously because he's like an old man, he's like going for it, but he's like trying not to hit him. But then apparently like Willem Dafoe just instantly fucking cracked him in the rib, just absolutely twatted him. Absolute legend method.
Love it.
So we learn when we're in the Sanctum that these. Oh well, first Doctor Strange sends Peter out on this mission to find these multiversal trespassers. So when his first mission, with the help of Ned and MJ, you get Electro and Sandman. Thought this was a great scene. I like how I know, Jack, me and you, like, Electro was one of our most anticipated parts of this film because we wanted to see how they were going to change him. So you see his sort of reappearance from Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then because the energy is different in this universe, it affects his power, and he doesn't look the same anymore, basically. And Sandman helps Peter out. What did we think about Sandman and the way they used him? Because Sandman and Lizard aren't sort of, they're not on the same level as the other three villains in this film.
I think maybe they could have
used differently.
I did like how at the start he did help Peter. I'd have been a bit annoyed if, like,
I know, because we were all wondering. We were like, well,
left off.
They were fine at the end of 3, so why is he fighting him? Yeah,
but then,
it made sense.
I think as with Sandman, I think in a film where you have all these other villains, he's never going to be like the main focus.
No, I think they used him well, and I thought, like, they used him for comedy, and then they used him for, you need a big guy in the fight scene. Yeah.
Although I don't, thinking about it, I'm not quite sure of what his motivations were near the end of the film.
He just wanted to get home. He wanted the box just to leave.
I think Electro as well had gotten in his head a bit, hadn't he? And like they had that conversation, about do they trust Peter? And I think it kind of.
Well, yeah, I think as soon as Peter zaps Electro back to the Sanctum, that Sandman's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, he's like, no, I don't really trust what is happening here.
They have my favorite conversation though. Well, one of my favorite conversations. That whole bit about falling in the vat of eels. And
you gotta be careful where you fall.
I was like, that is such a ridiculous thing to happen. Oh, I fell into some sand.
I fell into a super
collider.
Super collider, and then some eels. It's like, wow, that is ridiculous.
Jamie Foxx came out with some of the best lines in this movie.
Oh yeah, he was great.
The bit when he is like revealed and he's like, "We're just gonna stand here and pretend I'm not butt ass naked."
No, and Sandman's reaction was, "I'm not."
And when he talks to Andrew Garfield later on, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you'd be black, man. I thought you'd be black."
Yeah, I love that. Maybe there's got to be a black one, a black Spider-Man out there. Yeah, I was like, yes, there is, mate, and he's a fucking monster.
So when we get back to the Sanctum, all the villains have been captured. We get Norman at the Feast homeless shelter. The Goblin's not in control. So everyone gets back there, and then we find out, these villains have been plucked out of their universes moments before their death, usually when they find out that Peter is Spider-Man. So if, we're going to reverse this spell with this magic box, slam this button, they're all going to be sent back and they will die. That's their fate, as Doctor Strange says. But because of his Aunt May and, her beliefs and what she's passed down to him, it's, he's like, I can't just send these people. I knowingly send these people back to their death. Because obviously, after Infinity War, after Endgame, Peter knows what it's like to just be, removed from existence. And he doesn't want to put that on anyone else. He's like, no, we have a chance here. We can change these people, change their fate. And it's, the mirror dimension fight scene. We'll talk about that for a second. Wow.
Yeah, that was great.
That was incredible. That was so much more than we saw in the trailer as well.
I love the humor that they bring into these fights as well. Like when Doctor Strange just has him falling through those 2 portals, like constantly, just keeps falling down them. Stuff like that. I'm like, that's exactly what you would do if you could do that.
I wish they'd explained though how he was still moving his arm when he was out of his body.
It's just his spidey sense.
That's just his spidey sense doing it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, that was cool.
That looked a bit ridiculous.
Like, that was funny. It was funny.
Fucking Benedict Cumberbatch just fucking like jumping left, right, and center trying to get it.
And Spider-Man actually wins this fight. He beats Doctor Strange. He leaves him stuck in the mirror dimension, and then he's like,
nice.
Right, we've got the tech here, and we've got a chance to change your fates and reverse these accidents that happen to you, and stop you from being villains and putting you down this path that is ultimately going to lead to your death. So we go to Happy's apartment where Peter and Aunt May are staying, and they've got the what was it called? Tony Stark's machine, the fabricator.
The fabricator.
So they can make anything. So they give Doc Ock a new chip, puts him in control. The machine for Electro's chest, where it dissipates all the electricity.
That scene was so good.
So tense. So we'll skip to it. Yeah. So I think the best representation of like spider sense we've ever had in a movie, because this it was as if all the sound went, and he's not sure what the problem is, but he knows there's someone else. Like,
yeah, and the ticking of the
in this room
as well.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And then he takes a deep breath, realizes Norman ain't Norman anymore. The Goblin's in control. And this such a good turn from Willem Dafoe. He still got it. He's like, Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
Oh yeah. That performance is so like it's so jarring, but like also fits so well.
That's why it works, isn't it?
It's so bizarre.
It's such a shift.
He's so good.
Yeah, they did the same thing that they did in the original Spider-Man as well, where Norman's got fake teeth in, and then the Goblin's teeth. They have Willem Dafoe's, I guess not less. I don't know how to talk about Willem Dafoe's teeth, but he changes his teeth whenever he's the Goblin, whenever he's Norman, like they did in the old movie. And then I think this leads to, maybe the best fight in the whole movie.
Man, he hits him with the cleanest spine buster I've ever seen.
Holy shit.
When he
puts him through floors?
Yeah, when he hit him with that spine buster, the wrestling fan in me was like, oh my days.
This is all I've ever wanted.
Get him to WrestleMania now.
The bit in that fight that I loved.
This is brutal.
Yeah, the bit that when he like falls out the window and then Lizard grabs him by the head.
Yeah,
and then like chucks him through the wall, and then Goblin throws him through the floor again. I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's no game.
My favorite part of the fight is when Peter jumps on him, and he's just wailing on him, and he's not letting up. He's just beating the crap out of him. But Goblin's not, he's getting hit, but he's just laughing. And it reminded me of the Joker in Dark Knight.
Yeah,
where it's like, no matter how much you hit me with, nothing, it's not doing anything. And then this leads down into the lobby. Goblin gets away after hitting Aunt May with the glider and throwing a pumpkin bomb, which Peter deflects. And then this is where we finally in the MCU get our "with great power comes great responsibility" scene. And I thought this was so well earned in this movie, because that's really the theme, and what Peter's going through is learning that lesson. And We think Aunt May's fine. We're gonna get out of here, and it starts hitting her, and she's like, I just need to take a breath. And when she says that, we all know what's about to happen, don't we? And this scene was heartbreaking. And I think the longer it went on, it was such a good choice to let this run as long as it did. And what I realized after this was like, I've always complained about this Peter not having an Uncle Ben because of how much Uncle Ben means to his overall story and origin. But they've just made May his Uncle Ben. And it meant so much more than it did in the old movies, because we've spent more than 3 movies with Peter and May now. So we get that relationship. So when she's taken from him, it's heartbreaking.
It's one of those moments as well. As soon as she said, the line, I knew she was dead.
Yeah.
Because it's like a kiss of death in it.
Nothing ever good has come after someone.
And then I was like, oh, maybe she'll be okay. And then she wasn't, and I was just like, boom.
This is where
I was
like, go on, Jack.
I loved the fact, like, this is the scene where, like, Spider-Man. This is like Peter going from being a boy to becoming a man.
This is and this is his origin movie, basically.
I loved that scene as well. Like, you can see up until she has to, like, lie down, his, like, naivety. He's like, yeah, like she's been here, she's fine, she's all good.
Well, yeah, because Peter can walk it off, so he's
and he's like, come on, we're gonna be fine.
Forgets for a second,
and then when, like, he sees, I don't know, like, you don't see the wound, but you see her hands, like, covered in blood or whatever.
Yeah.
When he notices that, and he knows that she's on the ground, and it, like, clicks in his head, and he's like, I don't know. He's almost like there's like a brief moment of, like, him accepting what's about to happen, but then him still, like,
it reminded me of the scene with Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he's sort of, there is that denial of, this isn't happening, this is not happening right now, and he's like, just look at me, we're going to get through this, it's going to be fine. And then it's he's just saying, I'm so sorry, because this is all his fault, and that's the Uncle Ben moment. I've put you in danger, and because of my choices, you're now gone. And it was so powerful. And I think this is a good time to mention that Michael Giacchino's score in this film is overpowering. It's oh my god. And, well, there's a moment later in the film where I think the score is just it brought me to tears, as it did in this scene. But yeah, really good stuff. And I've been waiting for that his Spider-Man theme to really hit in one of these movies, and at the end of this movie, wow, it hits big time.
I'd listen to it in a club.
Crying,
light us out.
Crying.
Yeah,
on the
I'd be an absolute bit.
Absolute bit. This is where the movie really switches.
Yeah.
Tonally, I think now we're on a warpath with Peter, and he's like, I tried to help you. I wanted to send you home to live better lives, but now I don't care. This isn't my problem anymore.
We didn't mention fucking my man Harold Happy Hogan rocking up and seeing May die.
When he turns up, it heartbreaks a little bit more.
I literally was like, oh my god.
He tells Peter to run.
He can't catch a break, that man.
No.
When Peter, like, I was fucking devastated when he's, like, holding his fucking aunt's corpse, and then that one, like, cop shoots him in the shoulder, and he has to, like, run away, and I literally was like, Jesus, man. That's,
you know what? You know what I'm gonna say for this, right? J. Jonah Jameson in this film is a piece of shit.
He's a prick, mate.
In the Raimi ones, he had some redeeming features, right? But in this, he is just
he's an asshole. Yeah. Completely agree. This leads us on to the biggest scene in the movie. So Ned and MJ are watching the news. They figure out, something's gone wrong with these guys. MJ is tempted to push the button, send them all back, but Ned's like, trust Peter, trust the process. He's got this. And he's like, I just wish I could see him. And then we get the indication that Ned might be able to do some Doctor Strange magic.
Yeah, Ned in this movie was so bizarre. Like, I don't know what his deal was.
What's he going through?
Why is he able to do that? Did anyone fucking sling ring?
Like, never come up. Why is he never be like, oh, by the way?
He's never had a sling ring. Sanctum, oh, my fingers tingle or whatever.
Yeah, but if my mate's a superhero, the first thing I'm telling him is, oh, some weird shit happens to me sometimes too.
Oh, no, I think this is the first time he's ever produced a portal.
How he thinks he's magic. I'd have brought that up to my friend before.
Defo magic, man.
So, and he's like, I just want to see him. I wish we could just see Peter. And it opens a portal, and this was, I can finally rest at ease because this portal opened. We see a Spider-Man shaped figure, and it turns around, and it's not our MCU Peter. Those are the big white beautiful eyes of Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, and he runs through the portal, takes that mask off, and the crowd goes wild.
The cinema did gasp when
we thankfully we watched it in we had a private showing, so we didn't have any screaming and hollering.
I didn't mind because it was kind of the same as when Cap picks up the hammer in Endgame.
They give you a beat, don't they, to applaud?
And it wasn't like everyone. People weren't like woo. People were just like, oh yes, like whispering loudly. It's quite a nice moment to be in the cinema for, I think.
When I watched it last night with a crowd, everyone went crazy. I was like, yeah, this means so much.
I'll be honest, it got to a point in the film where we were getting into it, and I was like, maybe they're not in it. I was like, maybe they're not going to be in it.
I never had a doubt.
Because I was trying to think of a point when they could come in. I was like, maybe they're not. And then
if they've not done it now, when are they going to do it?
And then that happened, and I was like, here we go.
So Andrew Garfield comes through, and he's, I couldn't even process it at the time. I forgot where I was. It finally happened, and then he's got some great moments in this scene where MJ's asking him to prove.
He's great in this whole. He's great in this whole movie.
Yeah, he is.
He's fantastic.
I'm not like I don't hate his movies. In comparison to the others, I just don't think they're great. But he in this movie is so fucking good. The way they've made him super depressed.
And they also they kind of make a joke out of him, and he he plays into it, which he just doesn't think he's as cool as these other Peters because he's not been to space, he's not fought aliens. And I think that was really good.
And his girlfriend's
definitely dead. The most, and his girlfriend's dead. And he's definitely the most emotional out of the three.
Whole bit with him and Tobey Maguire, he's like, "You're amazing.
You're amazing."
I love that bit.
Yeah, that bit. When he's like, "Thanks, no, I really needed to hear that."
So
he's like self-confirmation.
Yeah, yeah. So we get some great moments with him, but Ned's Lola gets him to get the cobweb down from the corner of the ceiling.
When he's hanging off, and then MJ's like, "That's not enough," and he's like, "This is plenty." When he's like knocking that web is so funny. It's so demeaning.
Yeah. So he's like, we got to keep trying till we get the right Peter. They open another portal, and out steps. I'll say this, not as natural an entrance as Andrew Garfield's was. But Tobey Maguire does come into the room through a portal. It's like he was stood there just waiting to come through.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, though, I think.
It was awkward.
It's not like we found him. It's like he was waiting. So he comes through.
That bit.
Peter Parker. Crowd goes wild again.
I was gone.
Yeah, I was already tearing up, but he walked in, and I was. Yeah.
Andrew Garfield. I was like, because he's been doing press for Tick Tick Boom, and he's been talked to about it so much. I was like, oh yeah, he's in it, cool. We pretty much knew he was going to be in it.
They were never going to have one without the other, though. Let's be honest.
I know, but when they opened it and he walked through, I was literally like, that is Spider-Man. That man, I was beside myself. Spider-Man. I was like, when I was younger, Spider-Man was my favorite hero. I remember going to watch that first movie. I don't think I've ever been, as a child, I probably never been so buzzed for anything in my entire fucking life. And the second you see him in this movie, it made me feel like
everything
I was
back.
10 years old. It was immense.
It was so good.
the next few scenes are great because it's the three Peters. So they meet him on the rooftop of his school where he's gone to just be with himself and be with his thoughts and mourn over May. And then Peter, so, we've been through this and we don't want you to go. Well, Andrew specifically says, I don't want you to go down a path that I've gone down because it's, it's corrosive and it's vengeful. And he says he stopped pulling his punches. And he was filled with rage, which if you'd have asked me like which Peter would have been the one to go, darker, it didn't seem like Andrew Garfield in this movie because he was very light, he was very playful, and then but clearly he's going through some shit.
I was interested to see like where, like, I know it's obviously after Amazing Spider-Man 2, but like how far down the line is it? Because he's obviously still like fucking broken about Gwen.
I think the Peters coming out into this universe, I think that's in real time. So I think it has been 15 years since Spider-Man 3. And I think it has been like 7 years since Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Wow.
Was that only 7 years ago?
Wow.
2014, yeah.
Move on.
Jesus Christ.
Because all the villains have been sort of de-aged, especially, Alfred and Willem got de-aged, so they were ripped from when their movies came out. But I think, it's been real time for the Spider-Mans, which I like that, and I like how we got some context to catch us up on where they are in their universes. Like, Peter worked it out with MJ. They seem happy, but Andrew's still just Spider-Man on his own.
Sad and alone.
Sad and alone.
Sad boy.
So sad. That man is so sad.
And so we gotta cure that ass. We gotta find these villains, do the right thing, and send them back to their universes. And so we get a great scene between the three of them where they're in the school making up these cures, these anti-serums for all the villains. And then I forgot the second time when I watched this how, like, as soon as the Spider-Man are in this movie, they're in it. Like, we don't really get moments without them now. And it's great that we got such a substantial amount of time with them, because I think there was some worry at one point. There was like, are they going to show up for one scene and be done? It was great that we actually, we got some real screen time with them. And so I think the highlight between the three of them is when they're on the Statue of Liberty and they're sort of like comparing powers and villains. And obviously, they had to ask the question of how the fuck does Tobey Maguire's web shooter work? So that was very much like,
it is outrageous.
I think that when they were writing these scenes, they were like, what do the fans want to hear? What do they want these characters to discuss? So we get some allusions to Venom and Rhino from the other movies.
That
there was a rumor for a long time that Rhino was going to be in this movie, but how silly would that have been?
It would have been stupid.
It would have been stupid. So our Spider-Man leap into action to try and stop these villains, cure these villains, cures all around the Statue of Liberty. Oh, before this, I've got to say a great Spider-Man moment when he phones in through the Daily Bugle, and he's letting the people know what's going on. I've made this mistake. These bad guys have come here, and I'm going to stop it. And he goes, "World, if you're watching, wish me luck. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man could really use some right now." And I was like, "Oh, that's so Spider-Man. That's so great." So they leap into action, and the villains are getting the better of them. They're not coordinated. They're all hitting each other with their webs, tripping each other up.
That sparks my favorite Tobey Maguire moment.
Which
when they're talking about when he's like, I've kind of had some time working with a team. I work with the Avengers, and instantly he's like, "Oh my god, the Avengers! That's amazing. Who are they?"
Yeah,
he doesn't know.
The Avengers. That's great. What is that?
Yeah, so he's so immediately happy for him, but he has no idea why.
I think my favorite Tobey Maguire moment comes a second later when he tries to explain what the Avengers are, And Toby just screams, "How is this helping?"
And then it's amidst all that fucking shit show as well. And then Andrew's like, "Is that a band? You in a band?
You in a band?" Yeah, great.
But that, those like some of the like even the film up until now has been fucking amazing. And even when they all finally like meet, it's just even better.
Yeah, like every interaction between all the Spider-Men.
I like it.
In the back, in like the lab scene when they're making the cures, I don't know if you saw it. It made me laugh both times when they're like talking, and then Ned comes over to speak to Tom Holland, and then Andrew Garfield walks away, and he's like walking away, but he like bumps into Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
I
know.
Absolutely fucking killed me. They're all so uncomfortable.
I love Ned in that scene as well, where he's like, "And I promise I won't turn into a supervillain and try and kill you." And like they're just like
Andrew Garfield's like,
Andrew Garfield taps him on the back, buddy. He gives him like a nod.
Yeah.
And the bit when he's like Peter, and they're like, "Hello." He's like, "No, Peter Parker," and he's like, "No, we're all Peter Parker. The same name."
So the moment where they say we're gonna go after one target. We'll knock them off the board one at a time. And they all mask up and they all run and jump off the statue. And the tears started coming again at this moment, because I was like, this is all I've ever wanted. this is like, I can't believe what I'm seeing on screen. 3 Spider-Men all in unison going off to fight the bad guys. I couldn't believe what we were seeing. So they start taking them off the board one by one. They fix Sandman, they fix Electro with the help of Doc Ock, and change the Lizard back to Dr. Connors. Although I imagine when he gets back to his universe, he'll just turn himself into a lizard again. I can't imagine he was happy with that outcome.
That for me was the only moment that was a bit jarring to watch, because he just turns back, and that's why I messaged you, because I was watching it, I was like, Reese Evans isn't there.
No, so for Lizard and Sandman, they did the voiceover, but I guess they did it remotely.
I get why he's not there, because it's like COVID and it's just cheaper. He's only in like 30 seconds. But
so they just reused footage from Spider-Man 3 for Sandman, Amazing Spider-Man for Lizard.
And I was like, oh, it's a bit weird. He's not saying anything. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, neither was Sandman, and it was just sort of like, nah. They did the best they could.
Yeah, but it's a little tiny thing.
Yeah, that is fine. They did the best they could. And I'm glad we got them. And then instead of not having them, if the actors weren't available, I think they did the best job. Yeah.
In this scene as well, we got the most swag line from Jamie Foxx when he appears.
How you like that new?
How you like that new? I literally was like,
I loved him in this movie. I loved him.
He's so good in this, and
he's great.
If that Electro was what we got in Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'd have been like, yeah, this is fucking sick, man. But it's not.
I like when Andrew's trying to calm. I'm just going to refer to the Spider-Man with the actors' names. When Andrew's trying to calm him down, and he's like, I just want to help you, Max. So I've only ever wanted to help you. He's like, you ain't even the shit no more, man. Like, look at what we've got in this universe. And like, fuck off. I like that. I like how that was Electro's motivations to stay. He's like, this power in this universe is like something like we've never seen, and what they've got, and the potential, the possibilities are limitless. So that's why he wants to stay. I like that as his motivation. I like how they were all different motivations as well, which I thought was cool. They weren't all just like, no, I don't want to go back and die. I think it was
like if I was Sandman, I'd be really pissed, right? Because obviously they're all there because their fate is to die at the hands of Spider-Man. Yeah. If I'm him, I'm going, but he let me go.
Yeah.
What does he do to me in the 30 seconds after he lets me go?
No, I think that's why it was good. He wasn't like, his motivation was different. He just wants to get home so he can get back to his daughter and help her. And that's why he was on board with the whole, cure everyone thing, because he's like, the quicker we do this, the quicker I get to leave. And then at the end, he's like, you're all taking the piss with this box. You all want it for different reasons. This isn't going to end well. Just give me the box and let me go back. And I like how that was different to everyone else's. Where were we in in the story now.
Trying to cure everyone.
Yeah, trying to cure everyone.
Oh, so Green Goblin comes back, takes the box, plants a pumpkin bomb, blows open the spell, which leads to what we've seen in the trailers, where these dimensional rifts open up over New York, and then we find out it's the people that Doctor Strange was afraid of coming through are like mainly all of Peter's villains from across the multiverse. So everyone who's found out that Peter is Spider-Man is going to come here. And like, I made out Scorpion, Kraven, and Rhino in the sky.
I think next to Rhino was, I always forget her name. The
Black Cat.
No, I thought it was the Octavius from, the woman version. She's
Liv.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I think it's her. Because I don't know if that
would have been cool.
I don't know if that was Kraven though.
I think it was great. He had the spear and he had the big puffy coat.
Because he looked like he had something on his head. I don't ever remember him wearing anything.
Just a slicked back hairdo. I think it was Kraven. I think it was. That
was my first thought, but then I second guess. He also looked very big.
They might be buffing Aaron Taylor-Johnson up for this movie. So then, the spell explodes open. The Captain America shield from the Statue of Liberty falls. This is what we've seen in the trailer. MJ gets knocked off. Peter dives to save her, and Goblin swoops in, takes Peter out of the equation. And I think what we all wanted to happen, some of it expected to happen, is Andrew sees this, jumps down, saves MJ. And I think it was, he starts crying because he's reminded that he couldn't do this for Gwen and what he's lost. But also, like, I think he's so happy that he did it. He sort of, he made up for his mistake. Not made up, but, and he saved Peter from going down this dark path of, if he's just lost his aunt, if he loses his girlfriend as well, this is not going to be good. So that was a great moment. I like how MJ asked him if he's okay as well. He's like, yeah.
He's an absolute best. He's a wreck.
Yeah. This leads to another great fight with Peter and the Goblin on the underside of Cap's shield, which, wow, just brutal.
What does he
know
say
Tom
to
Holland.
Him?
He's like, I struck the final blow, but you, like, because of the situation you put her in, is basically what he's saying. He's like, you killed her.
And then
that sets him into a frenzy.
But Peter says something in like retaliation, but he says like, I kept like something like about him killing him, basically. I can't remember.
Because he says too weak to send me home, to send me to die. Yeah. And he's like, no, I just want to kill you myself. I was like, no.
Yeah, that bit when he's just when he's basically just on his knees and he's fucking leathering him,
just
wailing on him.
I literally was just like, I was like, oh my God, he's going to fucking do it.
I know Tom Holland in a lot of the interviews and on the press tour has been sort of like saying like the action's different in this movie. And we've never seen Spider-Man in fights like this. And this is exactly what I was hoping for.
Oh yeah, that was just a brawl.
It is just two brawlers, Spider-Man and Green Goblin, just punching each other up. And he did say, because he's been playing the Spider-Man PS4 game, that he snuck in a move from that game. And I think it's when in the apartment fight, when they're on the balcony.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Green Goblin up, spins him, and pulls him back towards the ground, stomps him through the floor. Yeah, incredible. So we get some more action like that.
He tries to do it on the shield, doesn't he? He like jumps in the air.
Oh,
and, like,
I think he jumps him and just like pulls him over his head.
Yeah,
and
it's like
a
wrestling thing again. It's like a Canadian destroyer or something like that. And just saying and being like, "Fuck me!" They're pulling. It's like whoever choreographed this loves wrestling.
Yeah,
Triple H.
That's cool. And so he goes to take the Goblin out with his own glider. Poetic. But Toby gets in the way, stops him, and he's like, he just gives him that look, and he's like, this isn't what we do. This isn't you. You're letting the revenge get the better of you. But this isn't what your Aunt May would have wanted.
Yeah.
So he puts down the glider. Toby gets.
It's like earlier in the film when he's on about curing them. He's like, let's go kick some ass. He's like, cure some ass.
Cure that ass.
We're going to cure that ass.
Oh, and then a moment where my heart just.
Did you think he was going to
sank.
die? The goblin.
I thought he was gonna die.
100% thought he was going to die because I was like, listen, they're not doing anything with him.
I'm glad they didn't. It would have been sad, yeah, but I'm glad they didn't because I think that would have overshadowed what else happens at the end of this film, and that's not the story we're telling here. This isn't about Toby's Peter. This is about Tom's Peter, and I think that happening would have been distracting, or it wouldn't have got enough time for itself. So I'm glad that it just took him out of the way so they could take care of the goblin, which I'm glad they went that way about it. Because I know there was a rumor a while ago that I heard that Toby was going to die in this movie. But in a different movie where it goes a different way, that might have worked, but not here. So they cure the goblin finally. And then this leads to my favorite part of the entire movie is where, Doctor Strange is like, they're all coming. I can't stop them. And they're all coming here because of you. So Peter's like, well, try the spell again, do the spell again. But before I messed it up, before I got in the way and started changing it, do the original spell where everyone forgets that I am, who I am, not just that he's Spider-Man, but forgets Peter Parker entirely. And this was so good from Benedict Cumberbatch, where he's like, everyone. At first he refuses, which I thought was great. He's like, no, I'm not. I can't do this. And he's like, everyone who knows and loves you, and he stumbles over we, which that got me. He's like, we'll lose every memory we have of you. And he's like, I know, but do it. And that was, I think, I've always gone on about how Andrew, that was the most Spider-Man thing ever.
Yeah, it was.
And I've always gone on about how Andrew Garfield's my favorite Spider-Man, but I think this movie, Tom Holland might have taken it, because it's choices like this that make Spider-Man Spider-Man. And I think they perfected that moment. And we'll talk about Tom Holland for a second. He killed it in this movie. He crushed it. He has to go through so much and he nails everything. He's still got that youthfulness to him in the first half of the film.
Yeah, like you really believe it's like a kid going through it, don't you? Like,
yeah, and then you look at him back in Homecoming now, and you're like, oh God, like he was a kid in Homecoming, really, and now he's Spider-Man in this movie. The character or
the character, 17, 18.
17, 18, yeah, going into college. So yeah, and then he says goodbye to Toby and Andrew. They all hug. It was a great moment, and then he goes to say goodbye to Ned and MJ, and I was like, this is where I'm gonna go again. And he's like, don't worry, like you're gonna forget me, but I'm gonna come and find you, and I'm gonna explain everything. And I thought in that moment, I was like, it's not gonna be that easy. Imagine trying to explain this to someone.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, we were in love one time. Like,
I'm a superhero. We were in love. Doctor Strange.
Especially this version.
Brainwash the world. What?
Especially this version of MJ, because she'd be like, that's absolute bullshit.
So skeptical. Yeah, exactly.
Go with it at all.
Wasn't it? Go on, Jack. Oh no, I'll wait till we move on to like that scene in a minute.
Yeah, I'll finish talking about this. So they, this broke my heart. She says, "I love you." He goes to say it back, and she's like, "No, say it when you see me again." And I was like, "Oh my God!"
No! Oh, that bit. I was like, "Oh, just say it now, man. Say it now.
Say it, please."
That bit,
and then they get this was a phenomenal movie kiss. This was great. The music
as well with the score behind it.
With the score,
that song is so good.
I've listened to it all day.
I was listening to it in work this morning. Tried to all about the fucking tears.
Oh my God. Yeah, and he says goodbye. He nods bye to Strange, and then we find out that the spell worked. People have forgotten who Peter Parker is, and then Jack, is this the scene you want to talk about, Jack, where he goes to see MJ?
Yeah,
at her job.
Yeah, when he like walks in, I don't know. Like I know, like she's forgotten everything, but did you guys get the sense of like there's like a semblance of like her remembering kind of like that brief glance that she
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what really got me about this scene is I think my girlfriend, my flatmate, I think all three of us had thought that somehow her and Ned had got together. So when Ned walked in, I was like, oh my God, they're going to piss or something. And it's going to send him into a spiral, but nothing happened. I was like, okay, it's all right. That would have been horrible for him.
What gets me about this scene is when, he's got it all written down. He's got it in his head. He's memorized this and he knows exactly what he's going to say. But as soon as he sees her, it just all goes. And I think in that moment, he decides like, maybe this isn't the right thing to do. Maybe I should just start fresh. And
it's like it's like at the end of Amazing Spider-Man where he decides to like let Gwen go, and then he can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is him. Like, he's like, I love you so much, choice, but I can't.
It's when he sees the cut on her forehead. And it just reminds him also suddenly of, I'm putting you in danger by us being together.
And again, it was all about like things that in this scene, it was all about, for me, from his perspective, it was less about what he said and just like watching his facial expressions.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh,
man, just watching him was so heartbreaking in this scene.
Yeah, he's so good. So Zendaya in this film as well.
Yeah, they're all three of them.
Obviously, they didn't rush into the Peter and MJ relationship. We didn't get it in Homecoming. We sort of got it in Far From Home towards the end. And I was always like, I get there's like an attraction, but I don't sort of buy these people that the Peter and MJ that we know. This movie, they're in love. I mean, I couldn't buy it. I couldn't buy it anymore.
Yeah,
they're and obviously they've got incredible chemistry, those two. It really works. So he decides not to tell her, and he like wishes her luck for college and stuff. And this isn't the last we're going to see of MJ and Ned. They're going to be in the next movies. I think that's going to be his journey of starting from fresh with his friends, and he'll get back with her. Whether there's a Gwen Stacy thrown in the mix along the way.
I reckon that probably will
find out.
Yeah,
I reckon so. But then so we're into the final scene now where Peter's on his own, moves into his own apartment, and I was like, this is it. Peter and his base of operations.
They
listening to the police radio.
They make everyone forget about him. So I had this conversation with my girlfriend. Do we think there's like no records of him?
It's magic. You've just got to go with it. I think.
That's what I'm thinking of. Like, though,
yeah, I think it is.
Like,
I think it is a full clean white.
How's he got a
Everything's
flat?
Gone.
Because they definitely had to have done some sort of background check on him.
He's probably got some Avengers money. Surely he got some.
Just go with it, Reese. Just go with it, Reese.
It's
magic.
But I was wondering if he could just turn up to MIT and be I am supposed to be here. You must have lost my record. And they're like, oh yeah, fair, okay. Like,
is that easy to get into MIT?
Walking and go, Peter Parker. Sure. Look, I've got everything here.
Yes, you're right.
And they're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah.
And then we see, this gave me everything I've wanted from a Spider-Man movie. This ending where we see he's made his own suit. He's, all the Stark tech is gone. He's no longer supported by all this tech that I didn't think he ever needed in these movies. But he's gone. He's made his own suit. It's that classic red and blue. It looks phenomenal.
It looks so good.
Especially in the way, the way they shoot it at the end of this movie and the lighting and swinging over the Rockefeller Center. It was beautiful. And I love a Spider-Man final swing. That's one of my favorite things in any of these movies, just that final heroic, triumphant swing. But, it felt different in this movie. It wasn't like, like at the end of Spider-Man 1 and 2, where it's sort of a celebration of this hero. This was Peter, his first step into being Spider-Man. And this, this end shot of him swinging through, I was like, these 3 movies have been his origin story. And now he's finally the Spider-Man we want.
If it feels like whatever the next step is, it feels like this was all just one huge prequel.
Yeah.
Like it was, and yeah, I really feel like with this movie, even though it's 2 movies or 3 movies and 2 Avengers movies and a Civil
Captain
War
America movie, yeah.
About him being Spider-Man, it almost feels like he's only just become like this. Yeah, this is him becoming Spider-Man,
and I think it retroactively makes those other movies better.
Yeah, and whatever he was before that was just him trying to become what he is. Yeah, I thought it was fucking the ending. I wept.
Killed it.
And the fact that he is now like, sorry, the thing that like where they go with these movies now, I don't think we've ever been in the position before, not that I can think of, where it starts off he is alone. Like he literally doesn't have. It's
sort of like an in-universe reboot of itself, really, isn't it? It's sort of like we can start fresh with Spider-Man now. We're at a different level. He's completed his arc. We're on to something else. And I think that's so smart because, like, you know, we're not entirely sure what the relationship between Sony and Marvel is, what it's going to end up being in the future. So I think this is such a good way to, you know, technically keep him in the universe. But if we do a Spider-Man movie, we don't have to have Iron Man, Doctor Strange, any other core MCU character appear. So I think that's such a smart way to have gone about this instead of like removing him from the universe entirely, just making everyone else in that universe forget him.
I don't think they will ever do that. Like I feel like he's too integral a character.
Well, yeah, I think that was the whole thing of how they kept him in the universe. Is like this is so successful and we're doing it right. So you know, why change things?
Yeah, it upsets me though that like what was it? Amy Pascal came out and was like, yeah, we're getting 3 more Tom Holland movies, but now they're being like quite coy about it. And
yeah, well, my suspicion is we are going to get 3 more Tom Holland movies, but I think they're going to take a break because we've been getting these every 2 years with his appearances in other stuff dotted around. So I think at least like maybe 4 years, wait 4 or 5 years, and then go into this new trilogy where he's grown up and he's, you know, he's met some more villains along the way and stuff.
I saw something the other day. I'm trying to. Apparently, his next MCU appearance has been like confirmed. I saw.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I didn't read into it though because I just didn't believe it.
Yeah, apparently it's like confirmed. So I don't know if that means he's. I imagine it's. Yeah, I mean he's being super coy about it, so I don't imagine it's a Spider-Man movie.
I think rightfully so. He wants to go off for a bit and just do other stuff because he's been Spider-Man.
Yeah, because he said he did an interview not long
since
ago.
2016.
He did an interview not long ago, and he was just like, "Yeah, I don't even know if I want to be an actor anymore."
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think
I was like, "Steady on now, Tom."
Yeah, so simmer down now, sir.
Take a break by all means, but you know, you got 3 more movies to do. At least do them.
Yeah, I like he's finally 100% fucking won me over as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
this was the first film where I looked at him. I was like, that's Spider-Man. And I was like, so I'm like, don't quit now. Keep going.
Perfect thing for them to do now is to do this new trilogy.
Yeah,
and use it to like gradually, or like maybe in like the last movie, they can then introduce Miles Morales and have him take over, and then that's the out for Tom Holland. And if they don't kill him, if for some reason he wants to come back and do like an Avengers movie, then he's still around, but it's going to be primarily like Miles Morales.
I think they will do that. I think, you know, they'll do another trilogy and like introduce Miles in like the second movie or something, and then have that grow into a mentor-mentee relationship, and then take over. Yeah. Well, I think we'll talk briefly about the 2 credit scenes. So the first one is, you know, the Venom did appear in this movie, technically.
And he's gone. Thank fuck for that.
And he's gone as quick as he came in.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand this because apparently they do explain it in the Venom films, kind of like.
Are you on about how he got into the world?
Yeah, because I'm like, he doesn't know where this is how I thought about it. I was like, Eddie Brock doesn't know who Peter Parker is, and he doesn't know he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, the symbiote does because of Spider-Man 3. I was like, it's the same thing, maybe, probably. So that's why he's there. But then I spoke to my friend last night, and he told me, or the day before, and he told me that apparently they kind of pretty badly explain it in the second Venom film.
At the end of Venom, they sort of say like there is this, it's like a hive mind, and they're aware of, they've got all this knowledge across the universes. Like,
okay, so it's
it's that's like, I watched it with Jacob last night, and that's what he got as well. Because I brought this up, and he was like, I'm pretty sure like it's probably connected through Spider-Man 3 in some way. Yeah. But it's not important because Venom is gone as soon as he came in. But he did leave behind a little piece of himself, which will ultimately lead to the black suit, the symbiote arc for Peter, which that should be fun to explore. And they've gone a bit backwards about it of Eddie giving Peter the goo, and then is it going to go on to an Eddie in the MCU?
You know what?
Who knows?
Give it to Flash. Give it to him. I'd watch it.
Flash didn't work for me in this movie.
I really liked Flash in this movie. It's the first time that bit in the coffee shop where they're like, we're not friends. And he's like, okay. I was generally like, bless him. Because in this,
I got my nerves
in this. He's a dick in these films, but he's not as bad as like the other ones we've had.
Well, no, it's like he's a bully, but he's still a nerd.
But it's more this thing of like, I think he's a bit more, it's in this one, it's more that he's a bit, not jealous, but
well, he sees an opportunity to get in on this.
Yeah,
cash in.
Yeah, I think he feels like Tom Holland, Spider-Man is like better than him. So I think he's a bit thinking about that. So I think
it's like Spider-Man in all these movies has been his hero, and then he finds out his hero is someone that he's always thought he was better than.
It's a good way to go about it. Some of his lines didn't work for me. And then the second post-credit scene is it's the first trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which looks beyond crazy.
The film is going to be so wild. I can't wait.
And they're in reshoots right now. They were doing 6 weeks worth of reshoots, which
that's why I'm feeling like I take it with a pinch of salt, because I heard that they're doing these reshoots, like they're doing such extensive reshoots because the film didn't test well. So, like, how much of what we've seen can we take away?
I
think we didn't see a lot here. I think there's so much in this movie.
As long as we get, which we definitely will, the like evil Doctor Strange.
It looks like
from What If,
I'm Doctor Strange Supreme from What If.
All I want is that.
Which is going to be interesting to link that up.
Also, Mordo looks fucking sick.
Mordo looks great. Yeah, I'm glad he's finally back, and we're getting some payoff to the end of Doctor Strange, which was 5 years ago. Oh my god.
I like that, like, these, they don't shove, like, we haven't seen I can't remember the Rachel McAdams. We haven't seen her.
Yeah.
We haven't seen
oh no, she was in the trailer.
No, I mean like in the MCU, since Doctor Strange. I'm glad that they don't like shove these people into these movies just to get them like, oh, they're still here, but like, I'm surprised we haven't seen Mordo before this. So if we haven't seen Mordo,
I'm interested
so by
to
the time
find
this
out what he's
comes
been
out,
up to. Yeah.
We won't have seen him for 5 years.
6 years.
Was it 26? Fuck me.
2016.
So he hasn't been Baron Mordo for 6 years, which is mental.
So Sam Raimi's doing this movie. The visuals look insane. I'm really interested in the story now and how Scarlet Witch fits into it all. That looks really cool. And I like getting a trailer. It's a post-credit scene. I think that's cool because I remember at the end of the first Captain America, they showed the first trailer for the Avengers. I was like, that was hype as shit. Because what else are you going to tease right now? No, just give us the fucking trailer. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like, even though I thought the trailer was cool, I'm not like a big fan of them dropping a trailer at the post-credit scene because, like, I don't know.
What else do you do? That Spider-Man, we can't really tease much more for Spider-Man right now because we don't know what the future of Spider-Man is.
I suppose, yeah. I don't know.
And I think we're ready. Sick. It's time for a Doctor Strange trailer.
Yeah, and what's the next film out? Is it Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange,
yeah. So it makes sense.
In May.
Yeah. I'm excited for Doctor Strange, but after Thor Ragnarok, I cannot wait for Thor 4.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
I'm quite looking forward to Ant-Man as well.
Oh, just for Kang, yeah.
Just for Kang, yeah. But as far as this movie goes, this was, I think, everything we could have hoped for and more. This didn't disappoint me in the slightest. I don't think I'd change a thing. We'll go into ratings. I suspect we might have it might be the same across the board.
I know Cal hasn't seen it yet and can't see it, but I'm going to give my estimated Calvin star rating.
Okay, we'll get to Calvin's at the end. Yeah, all right. We'll get Calvin. We'll do a best of 2021 list, I'm sure. And we'll definitely get to talk about it again then.
Yeah, Calvin did ask us.
He should have seen it by then.
A little inside baseball for the listeners. Calvin did ask us to go into this with a level head. We absolutely did.
We definitely did not.
No. Sorry, Calvin.
And I refused to.
Sorry. Yeah.
This is the one I'm allowing myself. Full bias across the board. I don't care.
He's not here to tell us his shit.
Good.
Which I don't think he will think is shit, but I guarantee.
No, I think he's gonna like this. I think he's gonna have a good time with this. So this is easily a 5 out of 5 for me. I've never experienced such joy during a movie. This, even without all the multiverse stuff, for the first half an hour, I was like, I'm so happy to be watching a new Spider-Man movie, and it's good, and the story's good, and everyone's great in it. I think this is easily the best Spider-Man movie. This is my favorite MCU movie. This is probably, this is one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. I was blown away. It gave me everything I'd ever wanted from a Spider-Man film. Reese, your score?
Yeah, 5. If I could give it more, I would. But we only got 5. This is certified sick.
Certified sick.
What was it?
This makes every other 5.
Ill's the bad one.
Lesser.
6 the good.
Oh, is it? Okay, fine.
Yeah. Like I said, the characters are brilliant. The story was great. It smashed all my expectations. And if I could watch one movie for the rest of my life, maybe this one, probably.
Or Rubber.
I might try and watch it again later tonight. Jack, your score?
5.
5 out of 5.
This movie on paper has absolutely no right to work as well as it does. There's too many villains. There's too many fucking spider people. It just sounds like a mess, but it just gels so together. It just gels together so well. There's so many moments in it that, like, I would say I'm not super emotional in a lot of movies. Like, there are some that make me like tear up or cry. A handful, but I cried about 3 times in this movie.
I think I cried for the last hour.
Yeah, like, I love how the end of a Spider-Man trilogy feels like we're literally just on the edge of something even more. Like, I don't know where they're going to go with it, but I'm absolutely blown away.
What's your score for Calvin? What do you reckon he would?
I'm convinced.
I reckon he'd give it a 4.
He's giving it a 4. He ain't giving it a 5.
Yeah.
He's gonna talk about being fatigued with the MCU, the MCU formula.
I don't think
he's definitely going to talk about that. I think he's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about. I don't know. He's probably going to say nuanced. He's definitely going to say nuanced,
or the lack of.
Yeah, lack of. He's going to say I don't know what he's going to tell us. There's a lack of, but there's a lack of something.
I hope one day he listens to this.
We'll make him.
I'm going to tell him. I'm going to send a message soon after, and I'm like, mate, when you've watched that film, this is the part because I fucking summed you up. No, I think he's going to give it a 4. I hope he likes it.
I think he will.
But I mean, he's much better at staying level-headed and not getting sucked into the hype, like, well, especially me and you are, James.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Allow yourself to be excited. This is exciting.
This makes me even more sad about the last 5 I gave, because this is how a 5 is supposed to feel. I didn't feel that way. Retrospectively, I'm giving Ghostbusters a 4.
A retroactive 4.
Reese has been talked out of his own rating.
I have. They showed me. Marvel showed me what a real 5 was.
Can't wait to Spider-Man 4, and then you're like, nah, this is a 5.
This is a 5.
No Way Home is a 2.
Right, guys, that's it for our review of Spider-Man No Way Home. If you're listening to us on YouTube, then please tell us what you thought of the movie down below in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. If you're listening on any other of our streaming platforms, then head to our Twitter at Keeping It Real UK, hit that follow button, and comment under our post your thoughts on the film. We're not sure when we're going to be back.
No spoilers. Don't spoil it for anyone else.
Don't spoil it on Twitter.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't do it. There's too many out there already. We're not sure when we'll be back. It might be after the new year, but we'll try and catch up on reviews for Matrix and Kingsman.
Maybe it'll be 5 years time.
Maybe it'll be 5 years time. Maybe this will be it. We're going to take a sabbatical.
Maybe we'll all be back.
Keeping it real's on sabbatical, honey.
We'll all be fatigued of the lack of nuance in all the films we watch.
But rest assured, we will be back again soon with more reviews before you know it. But until then, I hope you're having a great week. Have a very Merry Christmas. And as always, keep it real.